Hi everyone, it's StariAri. I'm here to give you guys your weekly transits for the week of the 18th to the 24th of January. So there's going to be a lot of crazy energy coming in, of course, and we're transitioning from earth energy to air energy here as well in the during the, I would say, the 19th. And so it's a lot of very I would say enthusiastic type of energy, very independent, very innovative, as well as creative energy coming in here with Aquarius season. But there's also a lot of stuff that's going to happen that might be very revolutionary for a lot of people, but it might be seen as very destructive for some. Okay, so just be ready for this. So we're going to start here with, let's see, gotta go back Monday. So here's the Monday chart. So here we have January 18th, we have Ceres and Pisces squaring the meet nodes 5:20 p.m. This is going to be, I would say this week, Ceres is aligning with Neptune, and they are both semi-square in Saturn. And this is going to bring a lot of it feels like tension, but it also feels like a lot of like kind of like a tug of war type of energy to me, between ideals and reality here. Okay, so between yin and yang energy, between uh, patriarchal energy versus motherly or matriarchal energy here. Okay, Ceres in Pisces is about being the sacrificial lamb, so to speak. Nurturing energy, mother, maternal energy, unconditional love energy, and also super, super overly forgiven or forgiving energy here too. Okay, so she does have this tendency to be, I would say, kind of like a doormat. But there's also a lesson here about boundaries, okay, and self-care, and giving yourself time and break from other people, as well as saying no to people. That little two-letter word that people don't like to use, especially you Pisces over there. Uh, I know you fishies. You guys love people too much to say no to them. So, uh, so again, make sure that you are balancing this out, balancing caring for others with self-care as well, making sure that you're not enabling others behavior either, like a mother would enable their child sometimes, where they wouldn't discipline them for being naughty or things like that, or they'll like they're writing on the walls and clearly that's naughty and they're saying, oh no, they're just being creative. Wait until they start writing or tagging on the walls outside of people's buildings, and then you'll still be like, oh, they're just being creative, they're just expressing themselves. That's an enabler right there. Okay, so anyway, so the nodes are bringing in some very harsh lessons here, some very cold hard facts here. Okay, so the truth. All right, and so this is going to be kind of like, we need to be willing to see beyond these daydreams or these idealistic points of views of other people, when these cold hard facts are presented to us, especially because it has a lot to do with what's going on in our reality at this time. I would say governmentally speaking reality, which is all an illusion anyway. So that's that another thing too, is making sure that we understand that everything that we are witnessing is definitely a game or a ploy here. Okay, so but anyway, going back to like your own bubble, or your own in relationships with others, make sure that you're not, again, making excuses for other people, which that Ceres and Pisces energy tends to do, and really see things for what they are, really see your dynamics between other people and how they really play out here. Okay, because the important thing to realize here is that we're not giving people a pass just because we love them. We're really telling them the truth of their behaviors, of their words, or whatever it is that they're doing that we feel might be, out of alignment here. Okay. So that's what this energy is all about for Monday. So moving on to Tuesday, we have Vesta stationing retrograde in 21 degrees Virgo. So Vesta and Virgo is kind of like that's the home girl right there. Like Vesta and Virgo are like this, all right. So these two get along very well, okay, and these two are pretty much devoted to good health in every sense of the word, meaning that they are pretty much obsessed with being healthy, with the mind, the body, and the spirit. They might go a little bit overboard with that, where they're telling you, hey, you should put that Snickers down and eat a salad instead, like that. But they're also very much I would say devoted to being of service to others too, okay, of helping people out with their issues, or being the fixers of problems here, okay. But the shadow side of this would be that you got to watch out for your desire to use other people's lives to escape your own, like escape your own issues and not deal with them, where you're so happy with helping other people that you neglect your own, yourself, or neglect to help yourself too. Okay. So very important for you to do that, to balance that. Okay. So moving on, we have Pluto in Capricorn, semi-square Juno in Sagittarius. um, this, I would say, is going to bring up a lot of shadows regarding or surrounding relationships, romantic relationships, partnerships, friendships, business partnerships, and stability in the home here. Okay. Um, I would say more than anything, it's like a karmic cycle coming back in, because we are seeing, Juno heading into the karmic south node here as well. And so it is important for us to know when to really divulge information and how to say things to people. Know your audience, what is going to trigger someone, and that's why you avoid it. Instead of having a argument, have a conversation. It feels like this energy is definitely going to want to push that, push the boundaries of communication here, as well as is going to trigger you to say things that you might regret later, or like putting your foot in your mouth type of Sagittarius energy here. But we're also seeing that these type of interactions is important for you and for your transformation and evolution as well. So we're seeing kind of like making sure that we're balancing these two things. For example, you might realize that old karmic cycles coming back in, maybe from the relationship that you're currently in. For example, what I've noticed with my relationship is the old, cycle coming in from the beginning of a relationship, because, when we moved in initially, when you move in with someone, you have to get used to their, what they do, what's comfortable to them versus what's comfortable to you, or who is gonna watch what on TV, and do you have to be forced to watch something with someone you don't even like the program, things like that. So it's compromising here. Okay, that's what I noticed for myself, is like compromise. It's very important here. This is the cycle of compromise that I had to deal with coming in for this energy. I don't know how you guys are dealing with your relationships, but that's what I noticed for myself with this energy coming in. So anyway, so it's very important for this to happen, for this to be balanced, and for this to be observed as well as absorbed, so that the karmic cycle can finally end, or finally be let go of. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna move out of Capricorn. The sun's moving out of Capricorn here, like around noonish time frame, and it's going to finally move into Aquarius. Okay, so you're going to be feeling very revolutionary, very eccentric, very independent, very wanting to be unique, thinking outside the box, radical transformation, wanting changes to occur, and so, yeah, so you're going to very much feel like this, but the shadow aspect of this would be wanting to be unique no matter what, meaning like you get upset if somebody's copying your style. Or you get upset that people are just following and conforming because you're such a non-conformist and everybody should be a non-conformist like you. So yeah, just watch out for those shadows of Aquarius there. I have every right to make fun of Aquarius because I'm living with one, all right? So you guys get offended, sorry. But I have to live with one. So you guys know, because you guys have to live with yourselves. how eccentric you guys can be. Or how non-conformist you guys can be. So anyway, make sure that's, watch out for those shadows coming in for this. Okay, so moving on, we have Mercury and Aquarius trying the mean north node in Gemini. And so here's kind of like what I'm receiving here is anyone who's really clear cognitive, um, meaning that they receive information into directly from the higher realms, communications and things like that into their minds, and they just don't know why they know that, but it's just they just know. That is gonna rev up for this energy. It feels like it there, because it's like all of these aspects are in alignment with the mental body here. Okay, so it's like Mercury, it's alignment with the mind. Aquarius, the same thing, as well as Gemini, communication in the mind. So that's what you're going to be doing a lot of for this energy. You're going to be receiving communications as well as communicating as whatever you receive, if you want to, of course. I feel like a lot of people who are in the spiritual community will have a lot of revelations that are going to come in, and I just say this because there's a lot of stuff that's just shrouded in bullshit, so just watch out with that. It's just for views or followers or whatever the hell they're doing, but just be mindful, be careful with that as well. So, and the same thing with communications, anything that puts you into fear, um be mindful of it. Okay, use discernment big time with this energy. Okay, that's the shadow side of this energy. All right, so moving on, we have Wednesday. So for Wednesday, we have Saturn in Aquarius, semi-square Neptune in Pisces. So this is kind of like, to me, Saturn is going to be like reality checking Neptune and Pisces like this whole time. Like that's how I feel, like the poor Pisces, poor fishies are going to get like bitch slapped by Saturn and Aquarius energy here. But it just it feels like the reason why is because Aquarius is all about, both of them, I would say Saturn and Aquarius are all like truth seekers, and revealing the truth, and no matter how it looks like, and then fixing it, right? So to me, it's going to be like, if the fishies, if the Neptune and Pisces energy are trying to escape from reality or trying to look the other way when there's clear evidence of something shitty happening, then Saturn and Aquarius is going to be like, look at it, it's going to be like right there in your face. So be careful with this. Also be careful with wanting to, I would say, force people into seeing the truth here as well, because that's a very powerful, aspect with Saturn and Aquarius, is like, we're going to show you truth even if you don't want to, so just be careful with that, because there are consequences to that, especially when someone is not ready for it. Okay, especially when you're forcing it down people's throats here. Okay, you can't just freaking kidnap people and torture them and tell them, they gotta see it your way. Your way or the highway, okay? So just be careful with that. So anyway, it is very important for that, to balance that, making sure that yes, we are seeking truth. Yes, we don't want to, allow Neptune and Pisces to choose to escape or stuff like that, but we also have to allow them to come to us when they're ready to face the facts here. Okay, so moving on, we have Mercury and Aquarius semi-sextile Neptune and Pisces. So with this one, is more of I would say it's more compassionate energy here, where it's more creative, more service to to others here. So I feel like this energy is definitely all about communicating and really working with other people here. Okay, so really going out of your way to communicate and collaborate with others here. Okay. Moving on, we have Mars that's conjoining Uranus and Taurus here. And so for me, I feel like this is kind of like the Mars energy for real. It feels like it's like pushing, like, yes, we're gonna change the world, like, because it's finally linking up with the revolutionary Uranus here, instead of being just with humdrum Taurus, where they don't want change and they don't want to do things too drastically. So be careful with the shadow side of this, which is going to be like reacting, coming from ego, impulsivity, wanting to take actions and say words that are very hasty and hurtful to others, because there are consequences to those things as well. So Uranus is going to then station direct at 6 degrees Taurus. So then Mars is going to be activating a lot of the direct Uranus energy here too. So this energy is going to be bringing forth the energy of rebellion, revolutionary energy from Uranus, and the great, awakener, so to speak, energy. So be aware of this. So you should focus this energy in, and really opening yourself up for greater change, allowing yourself to be more creative, innovative, and allow new ideas to flow in. Because there's going to be a lot of changes that are happening in your environment. So there's going to be a need for you to go with the flow with these changes. Okay. So anything that supports you, anything that supports your mission, allow it to come in and help. Okay, so it's very, very important for you to do this. So moving on, we have for Thursday, Mercury in Aquarius, semi-square Chiron and Aries. So we're going to have a lot of things that are coming up again with the wounded healer energy here, especially with communication and thinking. I feel like a lot of wounds are going to be coming in regarding the mental body. So working with the mental body is going to be important for this energy. Being aware of your thoughts, what you are creating based on your thought forms, what you don't really say but think, you know what I mean? Like, especially when it comes to self-talk, as well as not just negative talk about yourself, but also about other people. So just be mindful of that, because that's coming up again to be healed and to be dealt with. Okay, so being aware of your mental body and your thoughts is very important for this energy. Okay, so moving on, we have Neptune conjoining Ceres at 18 degrees Pisces. And so Neptune in Ceres is I would say, kind of like the ultimate mother that sacrifices herself for her children here. Okay, so she has a lot of things that she needs to process here, especially because she's doing this a lot, like where she is clearly miserable in her life, and she clearly needs some assistance, but she is not allowing that to happen because she thinks that she can handle everything, because she's super mom. So be mindful of that, of being super mom or super dad here, where you're not asking for assistance because you think that, you know, someone's gonna shame you for being a bad parent or whatever you think, you know, your ideologies are with parenting and things like that. So also don't be one of those helicopter parents where you overly protect your child from even falling down on the floor or scraping their knee, you know, or making a mistake here. Okay, so make sure that you set proper boundaries between yourself and your children, or between yourself and your partner, yourself and other people. You know, you got to let them make mistakes, even if you don't like the mistakes that they're making. You got to let them learn on their own. Okay, so very, very important for this energy. Okay, so also self-care is important for this energy, or if you're feeling depleted of energy, you're doing way too much for other people, then it's time for you to do some, you know, self-care. Okay, to take a break and to really come back to wholeness, I would say. Okay, because you're overextended here. Because how are you going to help people if you can't even help yourself here? Okay, so very, very, very important for you to do this with this energy. Okay, so moving on for Friday, we have the Sun in Aquarius sesquiquadrate the North Node in Gemini, and to me, this energy feels kind of like to me, it feels like two fucking rebels just getting together and painting the town red here. Okay, like that's how it feels. um but because we have Saturn, you know, is ruling the sign of Aquarius, or used to rule the sign of Aquarius back in the day. Uh, Aquarius always has this I know it all type of persona. Or it might come off that way sometimes because of that Saturn influence back in the day. But anyway, the North Node in Gemini reminds us that it is time for us to be grounded, as well as to be able to, you know, go back to the basics. Remember, you're still the student here, yet even though you have, you know, a lot of life lessons, a lot of wisdom to share, you still are technically a student. Even if you're like 80 years old, you're still learning somehow from others. Okay, so be willing to have that student mindset still, and not completely shut people off because you think you know everything. But anyway, that's what this energy is definitely helping out with. Okay, so new information might be coming in through a different source. Be open for that. Again, you don't know everything, nobody knows everything. And so it is important for us to be open to other people's points of views, other people's ideas, other people's wisdom. Okay, so moving on, we have Saturn in Aquarius semi-square series in Pisces. So this can pretty much show us any type of issues, or magnify any type of issues when it comes to our family. I feel like, especially between like your father and your mother here, like the dynamics that you've had with both, or how they had their dynamic in front of you, and that influenced you into thinking this is how a marriage should be, or this is what love looks like, things like that. So anything that comes up between, you know, these two parents, you know, that influenced you in certain ways, and certain ways of thinking, more than anything, especially with romantic and marriage things. This is going to come up for this energy. So Saturn in Aquarius is very disciplined, very paternal. And then you have Sirius in Pisces, that's very compassionate, very forgiving, a very sacrificial, mothery type of energy. So whatever is going on, you know, between your relationships between these two people, between your father and your mother, these things need to be observed and resolved as well. Okay, even if you are you know, a parent, and you feel like you're probably falling short somehow with your parenting style, comparing yourself to your parents, or to other parents, whatever comes up, it's time for you to explore this with this energy, okay? So moving on, we have Venus and Capricorn, quincunx, the mean north node in Gemini. And so this is kind of like the Venus and Capricorn is definitely all about, relationships and values and trust and building off of that. Okay. And so, or setting things into motion for the future here. Okay. Especially when it comes to relationships. Okay. Um, so this can be kind of like, for example, Gemini is all about like changes, about learning lessons and letting go and moving on with their lives. And so to me, it feels like it's two like energies fighting with each other and dealing with, or how to deal with a similar situation, where Gemini would just tell you, okay, what did you learn from that? Okay, time to move on. And then, Capricorn was like, no, there's still more to learn, and we have to hold on, and we have to, we can't just throw things away, and just things like that. I feel like this this is what the energy is about. Like we have to really learn how to balance this within ourselves, whether or not to, I would say when we're ready, to explore like our relationship dynamics with other people. If you are in a relationship and you felt like you've been miserable for such a long time, and you think, there's got to be something better, then it's time for you to review this and explore that and see, holding on that Gemini energy, the North Node and Gemini energy, to assist you with that, with letting go and moving on. But yeah, so this is definitely something like that about moving forward with your life, type of energy, okay? And not holding on to the past so much, because past is the past for a reason, okay? So moving on, we also have, let's see, Mars in Taurus squaring Jupiter in Aquarius here. And then, so this is kind of like the Mars and Jupiter energy can be good for taking action, as well as for moving forward with your life. Or taking the proper steps to move forward with your life, but they're also very aggressive in that, very aggressive in like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do it now without thinking about the consequences. Yeah, so there's definitely a power struggle in between these energies, especially with with Taurus and Aquarius more than anything, where there's going to be a power and control dynamic issue that plays out with these two. So if you're desiring freedom, which of course Aquarius, more Jupiter and Aquarius more than anything desires freedom and change, then it will come in with consequences here. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, so be mindful of that, be mindful of your commitments, of what you've committed to, as well as what you've been working with someone for a very long time. It's time for you to communicate the truth and how you feel, and see if you can solve any or resolve any issues, or again, press on and move on. Okay, so that's all I have for Friday. So there's a lot of that moving on energy. It's not Aquarius energy, I swear, because they're just like, let's move on, let's get out of here. Well, it's time for a change. All right. So for Saturday, we have the Sun in Aquarius, semi-squared Neptune in Pisces. So this is going to create a lot of issues with boundaries here. But the good thing about it is that we have this very intuitive, very spiritual energy too, very creative energy that we can work with. So if you can tap into that energy and tap into that side of things, and use it for therapy more than anything, especially if you're going through something emotional, use it to express yourself in that way. Okay. Paint it, draw it, sing it, dance it, drum it, whatever it is, just use it in that creative way of expressing yourself. but the whole shadow side would be the boundaries issue here. Delusion, deception, confusion, addiction, things like that, being addicted to escapism more than anything here, or wanting independence and wanting to run away, so be willing to see things for what they really are, and be willing to compromise or work things through with others, okay, in your life. So moving on, we have Venus and Capricorn, sextile, Neptune and Pisces. So this is kind of like, to me, it feels like a very beautiful energy, especially because of Capricorn is both Capricorn and Pisces, I would say, are super, super romantic. I know a lot of people are like, huh, Capricorn's romantic? Believe me, they're romantic. I've dated a couple of Capricorns. They really are in the beginning. And then they get to know me and they're just like, ooh, Sagittarius. Just kidding, you guys. So it feels very light. It feels very like puppy love-ish type of energy, unconditional love. And then we also have like this very compassionate, as well as forgiving love here. Okay, so but we also have a trigger here of the Neptune nodal T-square. All right. So be mindful of this. We're going to be, having to discern between what's real and what's not in relationships, especially in romantic relationships, what we're fantasizing and creating in the relationship versus what really is happening in the relationship. Like, for example, there's a lot of people who do this all the time with social media. Will be like the biggest illusion when it comes to relationships. So you guys know, you probably done it yourselves, or you probably know someone who's done this, where they have like the shittiest relationship that you could think of, and they're like constantly posting like, he's my world, or she's my ride or die, or whatever silliness, but they're always constantly at each other's throats, right? So that's the illusion here, the illusion that they're presenting to the world, that their relationship is legitimately happy and loving. But in the background, in the truth of it all, you guys know that they have like the worst and most toxic relationship ever. So that's what this energy is like. You need to watch out for that shadow aspect of this energy, where there is truly toxicity going about, and it's time for you to really be honest about it, pretty much. Okay, so what's really working out and what's not. Okay, that's what this energy is going to bring up. Okay, so moving on, we have the sun conjoining Saturn in Aquarius. And so the sun and Saturn can be very disciplined and grounding energy, but it could also be very pushy, I would say. Like it wanting to do what it wants without regard to anybody else's feelings. That type of pushy energy. But always, like I would say, very committed in doing this. Okay, nobody can stop it. Okay, that type of energy. So if you need that extra motivation or push, you can definitely hone in on this energy to motivate you to move forward with whatever it is that you want to move forward with, whether it is transitioning from one job to another, or even motivating you to finally stick up for yourself, things like that. So that's the positive stuff that you can use this energy for, but just again, watch out for that pushiness, shadow aspect of this energy. Okay, so moving on to Sunday. So we have Mercury and Aquarius here, sextile Eris in Aries. So this is definitely a good day to be pushy. I'm kidding. To be truthful, to stand up for your rights, or stand up for what you believe in. Mercury in Aquarius is all about revolution, being a visionary, thinking outside the box and being an activist. And Aries is ready to take a stand and to, bring chaos and upheaval to the world, especially when they know that the world is not working the way that it's supposed to, or the potential that it has to be, good for everyone. It's definitely there. And so they see that potential, and that's why they move or push forward to actualize it. Okay, so keep your mind open, keep your communication lines open with people who are like-minded in this way, and do things in your community. I always encourage people, if you really want to change things in the world, it starts within your own family, and then it moves on into your community. You being a service in your community, it definitely has a ripple effect, believe it or not. You helping a child in need, you helping you know I don't know, homeless person, things like that. Whatever it is that you want to assist with to make the world a better place for you and your future children, or your children at this time, do it. This energy is perfect for that, perfect for activism, perfect for humanitarian work here. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys for this energy. So we're going to move on to the reading. Okay, here we go. So here's the energy for the week. We have the lovers, the lovers, the lovers, the lovers. But everybody's super excited because they're probably really like horny right now. Kidding, you guys. All right, so I feel like this has a lot to do with relationships, period. It's not just lovers relationships, but also kindred spirit relationships, soulmates. It could be just friends that feel like soulmates, things like that. I feel like there's a lot of changes that are happening in these dynamics, especially you feeling supported as well as understood by whomever you're with or involved with here in a relationship or in a friendship, which is a good thing, because it's important for you to communicate these things, especially because of these transits telling you to do it, right? But because we're in the, stepping into the Aquarius season, we're getting a taste of the season, or I would say the age of Aquarius too. So, Aquarius is a very revolutionary in the way that they communicate and the way that they think outside the box to solve any issues or problems that arise in their own relationships. So that's what the Lovers card is asking you to do. If there's situations in your relationship that are not healthy, or you feel like they could really be better, then it's important for you to communicate that now, and to make the changes that you need to make, whether to work through things in situations or businesses and partnerships, whatever it is. But it has to happen, okay, in order for the relationship to last and to really be built on a solid foundation of trust and devotion to one another. Okay, so moving on, we have Monday's energy. We have the 9 of air, the 9 of swords here. So that's why it's happening here. Okay, so to me, it feels like you're overthinking things here, where you're fearing the worst scenario that can happen to you in this relationship because you haven't communicated how you feel. You haven't asked the other person how they feel. You haven't even tried that. You're just playing things in your mind and saying, oh my God, you're thinking the worst, like, oh my God, this person's going to break up with me. Or, oh my God, I'm going to fail at this. This business is going to fail. My partner's going to just bail out on me and I'm going to be in debt, things like that. So I feel like the 9 of air is telling you to really stop with the overthinking and just communicate. Okay, communicate your thoughts, communicate your fears, whatever it is, communicate it. How is the other person going to know what's happening and why you're freaking out if you're not communicating this? Okay, so moving on, we have for Wednesday and Thursday the 5 of air. So the 5 of air is bringing in kind of like to me, this is the communication that's happening here. Okay, making sure that you're not doing it based on reaction, instead of you're doing it like based on, okay, they're saying this, and this word triggered me, so I'm gonna just think about this before I say anything that's gonna trigger them again, right? And so it's instead of reacting to situations, it's time for you to really assess them and really gain wisdom from it before you say things that you're gonna regret. Okay, so that's what this feels like. The communication, it has to be thoughtful, okay, communication. It has to be mindful communication, okay? It has to be coming from the heart, not the ego, all right? So moving on, we have the weekend card, which is the 10 of water. So when this, all this jumbled up energy, it's all jacked up and all dramatized or overly dramatic, or melodramatic, I would say, when you finally do this, finally communicate from the heart, compassionately with love, then this is where you end up once more. And this is where we want to end up here, right? With the lovers being content, being happy, being, loving once more, and creating a future and a life together, truly devoted to the, path that they chose together. And this could also be with a business partnership, with a friendship, where you guys are finally at peace and finally know where you stand in each other's lives, and you can move on together, and to create this beautiful life once more. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys for this week. So just be mindful of those high energies that are happening out there. Be mindful of the transits, work with each planet respectively, however you wish to work with it, and just learn and move on with your life. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye bye.